Hello. In this video, I'm going to build and install a wooden fence and gate to create a garden in my side yard. So, as with any home improvement video, watch the whole video, determine what tools you need, and determine how my solution applies to your home. Every home is a little bit different, so take what you can from my home and continue your research. Well, let's get started. My home has a 7-foot 1-inch wide side yard that we don't ever use, and we have wanted to start a garden for a little while. My dogs are not well behaved enough to be trusted outside with tender vegetables, so I'll need to create a fence to fence them off from it if I want to create a garden. The previous owners already had an irrigation PVC pipe running to that side of the house because they used to grow strawberries, so I'll be using that watering system for my garden. It's fairly straightforward to build your fence out of wood. Wood is a relatively inexpensive material and can last a long time even outdoors. As I was doing my research before this project, I couldn't find any wood fence gate kits to my liking, so a custom build was my only option. The space I'm trying to cover is 7 foot 1 inches. My base is formed by four 4x4 posts. Did you know that a standard 4x4 post is only 3.5 inches by 3.5 inches? I wanted the fence to be right around 3.5 feet tall because I didn't want it to be too imposing, but I still didn't want my dogs attempting to jump to get over it. I placed the outer posts 6 inches from the wall because I dug down and found the PVC pipe on one side and the cinder block wall foundation on the other side. I buried the posts 1.5 feet down so that they were set sturdy. No need to pour concrete unless you're planning on some serious forces. I put a diagonal support on the gate for looks and for structural stability. The triangle is one of the strongest building shapes. I made the gate 30 inches wide because that's a typical house door width. The horizontal supports are all 2x4s, which in reality are 1.5 by 3.5s. Don't believe me? Measure one. I have a friend named Jeff who cut the frame wood for me, but you can get your wood cut anywhere. When I was at Home Depot, they offered to cut my wood for 25 cents a cut. Depending on how many cuts you need, it might be less expensive to take some drinks over to a friend's house and persuade them to do it. But at Home Depot, the first 2 cuts are free. That's actually where I got my 2 10-foot 4x4s cut in half for the vertical posts. You may have heard the saying, measure twice, cut once. I'd say the same thing about drilling. Though maybe not as permanent as cutting wood, leaving drill holes in your outdoor wood project is just begging that project to deteriorate faster over the years. So measure twice, drill once. My drill decided it was tired. This is one of my blunders. Always make sure you've got what you need to complete the job, or you'll be sitting around waiting for a drill to charge. Alright, back to work. As you have seen, I am a firm believer in drilling pilot holes for your screws. Pre-drilling removes wood material from the space to alleviate the pressure that the burrowing screw causes. It does not reduce the structural integrity of that. My friend Jeff was nice enough to set me up with some fancy pocket screws for the lower horizontal beams, but you don't need them. My approach on attaching the higher horizontal beams was to get one of 4 screws in completely and then do the other 3. This would help keep the joint stable after the first screw is in. Sometimes you'll be surprised what the right tool for the job is. Because this drill bit was so long and the space between the two posts is small, I ended up using a socket wrench with a bit driver adapter to get these screws in. Every once in a while, you ought to take a step back and realize that you're creating something awesome. Enjoy it! I hadn't quite figured out how tall I wanted the fence slats to go when I got my frame wood cut, so I had to cut them myself with my handsaw. Remember, measure twice, cut once! Because the slat wood I bought was not very uniform, marking all of the wood at once was not going to work out. Ta-da! I highly recommend you do this when you can. I created a template of sorts for the space in between my wood slats. This is much easier and quicker than measuring out the location of each slat. Here's one of my blunders. I thought I was clever and drilled the pilot holes in the slats several at a time. However, because the pilot hole didn't go all the way through the last one, I had to go back and drill out all of those holes. Here, I just eyeballed lining up the pre-drilled slat holes with the center of the 2x4. I had to go back to Home Depot and get different screws before starting to attach them to the frame. The original screws I bought were 1 1/4 inch long and would have hit the screws attaching the frame together, because they were about 1 1/4 inch from the edge of the wood. If you have better planning than me, you can still use 1 1/4 inch screws for your slats if you attach the frame together with this in mind. With the entire frame complete, I tried to place it in the ground. I figured out I made another blunder. I hadn't accounted for the way the cinder block wall was 1 inch wider on the base, so I had to modify my frame. The package for these hinges said that they should have been the other way around, with the larger 5-screw attachment on the gate and the narrower 4-screw attachment on the fence. I didn't realize until this point, but didn't see any problems with it in the end. I felt like it would be easier to get the gate hanging right if I mounted it to the post while gravity wasn't creating torque on those joints, but I'm sure you can hang the gate on the post while it is in the ground if you want to do it that way. My drill died again. I should probably buy a second battery for it. Good thing my screwdriver doesn't run out of charge. My goal was for the slats to be about 2 inches off the ground and for the fence to be completely level. This took a lot of effort, but was completely worth it. Just get out your level and scoop dirt in and out until you get it right. You're gonna have this thing for a little while, so invest some time into this part. Because the gate was exerting so much force downward, I really wanted to pack that far post into the ground to provide it support. With the far post doing a good job of counterbalancing the fence, I could remove my support and continue packing the soil. You'll notice that I have a level on the horizontal support. I was constantly checking it to make sure I wasn't making it unlevel. The final step should be the latch. You never quite know where the fence is going to end up, so there's no use installing the latch before everything is relatively stable. I wish I had planned with the latch in mind a little more. I cut out a lot of footage of me trying various positions for it, but I kept this one in so you could see what a great time my dogs are having while I was hard at work. And this is why 2 dogs are better than 1. They can keep each other company. Here's what it looks like almost a month later. My garden is ready for growing.